What we're seeing right now in the news would suggest that we could be looking at a pretty good earnings week and maybe heading into earnings and then after earnings. Did I say the other day that Elon is back? Well, he's back and he's back in spades. He's even back to sleeping at the factory. So let's go ahead and take a look. A couple of things here before we get to our secret $30 billion that nobody's talking about. Elon posted a ton on X yesterday and then today, and a couple stood out. He says, first of all, he says, at times, he says, AI existential dread is overwhelming. Yeah, so this is something he talks about all the time. It's like, okay, is this going to be a good thing? 80% chance, he says, or a really bad thing, 20% chance of some kind of an existential problem. And he says sometimes that the dread is overwhelming. I responded back to him when he said, Elon, worry is a useless and very, very taxing emotional thing to do. It doesn't do any good. It doesn't change anything. So just concentrate on the positive. Anyway, he then went on to say, pretty much at the same time, look, I've resisted AI too long. I've resisted it too long. He says, I'm living in denial. So now it's game on. What happens if it's game on? He's already in the lead. He's already winning on so many levels with regard to AI and with regard to everything else. Everybody acknowledges that Tesla is far in the lead on embodied AI, and nobody's even close. Anyway, but in the meantime, the world seems to be fixated on the Model Q. So we'll pass this on for what it's worth. This is on Robotaxi. Wait a minute. Let's see. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I got things a little mixed up here. Let's go back to Elon Musk first for a minute. First of all, he said your Tesla self-driving capability will see a step change improvement as we integrate upgrades for the Austin Robotaxi built into the general production release. So in other words, what's happening in Austin is a better release. That would make sense. We've all been saying that for weeks and weeks and weeks. We anticipated that. Now he's saying that once we integrate that in, then we'll see a much greater an improvement even in the very good FSD that we have now. He goes on to say that we need to validate that the improvements for Austin don't cause regressions elsewhere. So then that's what the holdups are. He goes on to say that for Europe and China, we're awaiting regulatory approval, hopefully soon. That's really, really strong. Then the Tesla owners of Silicon Valley, they said, hey, how about any updates on the Bay Area release of Robotaxi? And Elon responds to that. He says, as soon as the regulators approve, and he says they are being quite reasonable, to be honest, TBH. That was good news. More good news, good news and good news and good news. And then Sawyer Merritt says, can we expect this in Q3? And Elon Musk comes back from that and he says, replying to Stuart Zuckerman and 𝐒𝐚𝐲 blog, it's a new version of software, but we will merge the main branch soon. We have a more advanced model in alpha stage that has 4 times the parameters, but still requires a lot of polishing. Okay, there you go. Then we have this from Muskonomy. He says, breaking, Deutsche Bank expects Tesla to release Model Q this year. Well, we all expect that, so they're just one of many. He says that Deutsche Bank goes on to say they expect 25 units will be produced in Q4. Okay, I'm not going to bury the lead any further. Let's get right to the $30 billion secret. The investing world, to the extent that they care about Tesla, and many don't, is squarely focused on these 3 things. They're very interested in the sexy numbers, the Cybertruck revenues, the margins, blah, blah, blah. Always want to know what the total dollar sales are and the total margins are, the EBITDA and all that. Yeah, okay, I get it. They want to know about the Robotaxi rollout. So anybody that's even vaguely interested in Tesla is paying attention to the Robotaxi rollout. And then they also are waiting breathlessly for the Model Q reveal. So those are the 3 things. And That's what they're waiting for. They're in the call. That's what they want to know is how this robotaxi reveal going? When is the Model Q going to come out? How are things going with Cybertruck and with the regular products? Are we going to have a good third quarter, good fourth quarter? Some who are really smart and care most, really, really pay attention. They care most of all about Optimus, like me. And it doesn't take a PhD economist to figure out that this is where the future lies. So the bright boys and girls on Wall Street are trying to figure out whether Tesla might make $2 or so next year, $3 if everything goes well. Some people are figuring it's somewhere between $2 and $3 for next year, and that's counting in some robotaxi volume and counting in maybe some beginning Optimus volume. That's what they're figuring, $2 to $3 a share. But they're forgetting, completely ignoring $30 billion in revenue. On a $100 billion company, they're leaving with $100 billion now. They're discounting, they're not allowing for it. They're not counting 30 billion in almost certain revenue that has nothing to do with robotaxi, nothing to do with Optimus, and about 7 billion in profit. That would take the number up 50 cents a quarter, or for $2 for the total year, $2 a share, over and above the $2 a share that maybe they're hoping we can get to, or 230 or 240, which most of them are thinking is going to be the number. I've seen people that don't think we're going to get to $5 by 2029, 2030. And yet, if we get the 230 that most people are anticipating for next year and add this $2 alone, we'd be at 430 next year. So that number that I'm putting out there is only if things go fairly well for these secret product lines that everybody forgets about. No, not the insurance and not solar roofs, not charging stations. No, just semi-trucks and energy storage. In 2025, energy storage will produce about 12 to 15 billion in sales. No, it's already producing over 3 billion a quarter. 3 billion times 4, that's 12 billion. I think it'll go up by the end of the year. We'll be at 15 billion in sales. You see, energy storage we've got a second factory that's underway that really hasn't started producing any revenue or profits yet. We have a third factory that's being built. It's going to be probably built by the end of this year, ready to go and start producing in first quarter of next year. This could easily double by quarter four, the numbers that we're seeing now, to quarter four to 6 billion. And by the end of next year, it's likely to be in the range of $10 billion per quarter. That means roughly $20 billion more in revenue compared to this year at 25% margins. Now that's on the order of $4 billion per year profit. Now there's the other super secret project. That's the semi-truck. The eventual production is 50,000, but let's just figure 10,000 to be built in quarter four, a run rate of 40,000 instead of 50,000 by the end of next year, with production slated to start at the end of this year. Well, now we could be off a little bit, but it's not that hard to imagine. I'm estimating the vehicles will sell for $200,000. So that'll be $2 billion per quarter with margins of 25%, adding another 500 million of profit. That's likely to be some additional There's also going to be additional profits from FSD on those trucks. But I'm not even going to count that in. So 6 billion annualized profit as of quarter four of next year from those two secret products, are $2 a share, and not counting those silly cars, our pickups, our robotaxi, our Optimi. So what's going to happen with semi when we see those roll off the line? We'll talk way more about semi later tonight at the 7:45 show. I've got a whole lot to tell you about semi-truck. It's going to be pretty darn amazing. So this is from Holmore's blog talking about Optimus. He says Tesla, he's showing a picture of the Optimus at the cafe. And he says the Tesla Optimus Gen 3 hand has 22 degrees of freedom in the hand itself, plus an additional 3 degrees of freedom in the wrist and forearm, for a total of 25 degrees of freedom. This is a significant improvement over the Optimus Gen 2 hand, which only had 11 degrees of freedom total. For comparison, the human hand has 27 degrees of freedom. So we're at 25, compared to the human hand at 27. I think one of the things it's not going to be able to do is this. Oh, can I still do it? I used to be able to do it. I'm not sure. My flexibility going down a little bit. Anyway, or maybe this. I'm not sure I'll be able to do that. Anyway, the NVIDIA CEO, I'd study physics, not software, if I were 20 years old today. So if you didn't look at my video this morning, it's on AI. It's about AI. It's the future of Tesla. We are now an AI company. It was extremely well thought out. It was I got Grok involved in producing it. And yeah, maybe 3,000 of you saw it. But if you didn't see it yet, I'll put the card up in a minute. But AI is important. You got to start. If you're not paying attention to the AI side of things, you're going to miss it. So he says he would study physics. Jensen says that if he were graduating college in 2025, he'd skip coding boot camps. He would major in physical sciences like physics or chemistry. Why? Because the next frontier isn't just chatbots. It's AI that understands gravity, inertia, friction, cause and effect. He calls it physical AI, robots that don't just generate images or code, but grip, move, predict real-world outcomes, like not crushing your coffee mug when you pick it up. When you put that physical AI into a physical object called a robot, you get robotics. And yes, he said this in Beijing while leading the first $4 trillion company in history. And who's in the robotics business? Who's going to be the leader by absolutely everybody's estimate? Tesla. And you apparently are invested in Tesla. So I sent that on to my second oldest grandson, third oldest, anyway, one of my, maybe he's the third or fourth oldest grandson, reminding him because he is planning to study physics and math going into the fall. All right, this is from Barron's. Says here that Tesla, which reports after Wednesday's close, may be the top of mind for investors. The vehicle maker already disclosed delivery results for its electric cars for the quarter, and its 384,000 units. Deliveries dropped 13.5% from the June 2024 quarter. The largest percentage drop in Tesla's history. Still, that wasn't as bad as Wall Street expected. The stock's widely dispersed. Ratings average out to a hold as analysts fret about soft demand for EVs and CEO Elon Musk's political distractions. The company's June quarter revenues will come in around $22.4 billion, according to the consensus of analysts tallied by FactSet. That is up from March, but below the June 2024 number of $25.5 billion. Consensus forecast for earnings come in at 40 cents a share, excluding non-cash expenses, which could be barely half the 72 cents per share reported in June. Did they take into consideration something on the order of 300 million to 500 million in Bitcoin alone? Anyway, while Musk and his fans are betting the company will reinvent itself with robotaxis and humanoid robots, EV sales remain essential. On Wednesday's calls, investors hope to learn that demand has responded to the recent refreshment of the Model Y, and they'll find out when Tesla will deliver the long-awaited affordable models that could be priced around $35,000 or less, maybe $30,000. Morgan Stanley's Adam Jonas has remained a bull for 2 years, and his buy rating relies on robotaxis and Optimus robots. We expect deliveries to remain subdued in 2025's second half, down 13% over a year. But he actually recently wrote that, highlighting the continued strategic importance of robotaxi rollout and Optimus advancements. Sales in the second half may depend on pull forward in demand if buyers try to beat the federal government's elimination of EV tax credits. And by the way, did you notice nothing in there talked about semi or energy? Anyway, this is Randy Kirk. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button, the notify button, and the Patreon button. Not necessarily in that order. Maybe you should Patreon first and join Patreon. Send me, $3 a month or $5 a month or $10 a month. Or you could go over and join here on YouTube and pay $2 a month. All right. This is what we've got coming up, because this is the Monday morning show where we talk to you about what's happening next week. Let's start. By the way, I think the first thing I will tell you is I think that Tesla could easily be up, but we'll check that in a few seconds because it's now 5 o'clock in California. We'll get a little preview just as we conclude the show here in a moment. All right, so on Monday, we've got the U.S. leading economic indicators. They were down 0.1% last month. They're expecting them to be down 0.2% this month. Not sure why that would be. Everything that I'm reading suggests that U.S. leading economic indicators should be going the opposite direction, but nobody's paying attention to it anymore, and there must be a reason. On Monday, on Tuesday, rather, we get Fed Chair Powell. He gives the opening remarks at a banking conference. That ought to be helpful. On Wednesday, we've got existing home sales. They were 4.03 last month. They think it goes down to 4.0. The market is soft out there, and it might be worse than that. I don't know. We'll see. I don't have a guess. Initial jobless claims last week, came in at 221. They're thinking it pops back up to 229, but they've been wrong every single week for months. S&P's flash PMI last month was 52.9, and they're expecting that to go up to 53.2. Now, that's the services PMI. Manufacturing PMI was 52.9. They're expecting that to go down to 52.4. And then here we have new home sales. What was the other one up here? Oh, existing home sales. Now, new home sales, they're expecting that to go way up from last month, 623,000 to 650,000. I'm sorry, 650,000. That would be pretty amazing, given, again, the market. But that could be just because it is June and, it's right in the middle of the hot part of the hot market in terms of home sales. Then on Friday, we get durable goods orders, one that I'm always looking at. Last month, that was up 16.4. This month, they think it'll be down 11%. But then durable goods minus transportation was up only 0.5 last month, and they're not guessing for June. From everything I've heard, car sales are pretty good right now. Durable goods, I've heard mixed on that, so I'm not really sure. All right, who's going to be reporting this week? This week we got Verizon on Monday. We've got Coca-Cola and General Motors on Tuesday. We've got Google and Tesla on Wednesday. We've got Intel on Thursday and American Airlines also on Thursday. I think we've got another airline or two reporting on Thursday as well. All right, where are we in the markets? So let me go ahead and we'll check Tesla first. What are we getting see from Tesla for some reason? Okay, here we go. We are at 335 and 40 cents. So that would suggest 335.91. It's going up. So in 336 now. So we'll check this again when we get through all the rest of them. But right now, there is a lot of good news. I think, wouldn't you agree? Let me know in the comments below. Did you think that was a lot of good news and worthy of the stock maybe having another nice increase? I think maybe a nicer increase than $5. Let's see now what the rest of the markets are showing right now. Let's go over to the bonds first, as usual. And the bonds, that's interesting. Why are they showing? Okay. The bonds are showing at 4.42 with no change, at least, and I think that there should be posting, but right now it's showing the same down 1.1 that it's been showing for hours. So I thought they also came out at 5 o'clock, but there's no change if they do. We have got the oil up 0.05. I'm sorry, that's only 5 cents at 67.39, and Brent similarly up 0.08. Natural gas down 4.85% to $3.39. That is now, it's gone from above kind of the mid-range to below kind of the mid-range of where it's been recently. We've got gold down $3.30 at 33.55, a little bit above its mid-range, and silver sitting at 38.46, almost exactly at its previous all-time high. We've got copper down 0.51%. That's at 557, call it 558. And that, of course, is 550 right now. It's kind of its normal. A lot of stuff sitting around normal right now. I don't know if you've noticed that. A lot of stuff right around normal. Okay, we've got the dollar. No real change, a little mixed as usual. We've got Bitcoin down 757 at 117,258. Again, kind of sitting in that slot that it's kind of been there for a few days, just under 120. We've got the stocks. Dow plus 0.12%, S&P 0.11%, NASDAQ 0.13. So very similar for all three. Let's call it up 0.12 across the board average for all three of those. So evidence of a good morning tomorrow. All right, let's go back though. I do want to go back and check out Tesla one more time. It's sitting around the same thing, up $5.44 right now, 335. So that would indicate probably a good opening tomorrow without any additional news overnight. But I thought there was enough good news for a better number than that. So we'll see what happens in the morning. Okay, so what do we got tomorrow? First of all, we got tonight. Tesla Semi, there'll be more than just Tesla Semi. Got a couple of different things I want to talk to you about. There is a lot of news. I couldn't fit it into this program. A tremendous amount of news on Tesla Semi. Very good news, more good news. Another reason why the stock should be up more. That'll be at 7:45. And then tomorrow we will have regular programming. No, not regular programming at all. I think we're going to have regular in the morning, Brian Wong, and then Brian White. So we should have White and Wong on the same evening tomorrow if everything goes as planned. All right, that's all I got for you right now. Oh no, the card. You've got to go back and watch this morning's program. Let me know what you think. Grok helped me write it. Let me know. Did Grok do a better job than I normally do, or was it better when I do my own writing? Most of it was written by Grok, and I just read it. Let me know what you think about it. I'm waiting for more. I didn't get anybody commenting on that at all this morning. Just people commenting on the show itself, but not on kind of maybe a difference in style. Be interesting to hear if you have anything to say. One more thing? Just one more thing. If you'd like to be a reader, we have about 20 readers now. We need about 80 more that want to read the book, the new book on AI before it comes out. And so just go to Randy Kirk 77 at Gmail. Just send me a note, Randy Kirk 77 at Gmail, and let me know. Yes, you'd like to be a reader. Now, if you're going to be a reader, that also means you're a buyer. You got to buy one copy under $5 for when it comes out in probably September, middle of September, and then also give a review within the first 15 days after the book is on the market. That's all you need to do, just those three things. So let me know if you'd like to participate in that by hitting me up on email. Okay, that's all I got for you. I'm going to check out right now. It's been great talking to you.